Welcome to Follow Me and Die.
I finally realized that what I already do on my blog is worthy of starting a Patreon. I had a moment of clarity while cleaning and organizing my office. I work from home and my personal computer and gaming stuff is all in the same space, and I let things go for too long. I'm not done, but the freedom that comes from less physical clutter has the added benefit of less mental clutter. At the end of January 2017, I did a blog post, Trap Idea. Take one thing and expand on it. There was a post on Reddit asking for trap ideas for a kobold-infested dungeon. The first thing I thought of was a trapdoor that was so fast that it left a puff of smoke and a pile of dust that makes the players think the individual was disintegrated. And then you have the NPC or character show up later or be discovered by the others. I just took that idea and ran with it, and I came up with all kinds of ideas for how kobolds could leverage a trap-infested dungeon. After I read an article or somehow other mention of how silver plates and utensils were used to fight germs, I wrote another article on my blog, Magic Items, Table Service, that is about magical dishes that can defeat poison. And that article spawned another article, more magic dishes, about things other than poison. And another article, more variation on magic items, to be something other than the standard rings, wands, and staves. My idea for a Patreon is to let patrons both vote on ideas or submit their own. For me to take one thing and expand on it. I can then collect all these ideas in a PDF and patrons get it for no additional cost, and then I'll put it up on OBS for non-patrons. The end result will be a collection of tables and ideas to help others with their game prep, to help fuel their own creativity. Since many of these ideas are not tied to specific RPGs or versions of RPGs, so long as I don't mention or use rules based on OGL materials, it won't need the OGL or other game license. I think having a monthly poll in the form of creature doing X or everyday item with an RPG twist or other table to meet a need because there isn't a table or existing tables don't quite do what you want. Initially, I'll pull together some existing blog posts that fit and put them in individual PDFs with spelling and grammar cleaned up, possible additional material, and I'll do the first one as a free download, pay what you want on one bookshelf. This will give at least something for potential patrons to see what I have before committing to a pledge. I'll also discuss development of my card game, no spoilers, just some mention of progress and struggles, general stuff. Eventually the card game will be on Kickstarter, of course, once everything is ready. And I'll coordinate things between my blog, YouTube, and my Anchor podcast for all things related to Patreon. And I'll continue my YouTube series, Roll20 for the Absolute Beginner. My blog and podcast will also continue to cover topics I have in the pipeline and those things I otherwise want to cover. A few months ago, I actually laid the groundwork for a Discord channel, G+ group, and Facebook group for patrons. Since I already researched the requirements for a Patreon, I know it will take a couple weeks to get all the particulars in order of how I want it done. I also need to get set up on OBS as a publisher. It's been a few years since I first looked into what that takes, so I'll be digging into that. My thoughts are that the Patreon will be a monthly pledge with sensible tiers. I have played around with various ways of handling tiers. I still don't have it quite right, so I'll take a little bit more time to figure that out. And finally, since I want to have something ready to go to offer patrons when the Patreon goes live, I'll need a little time to work on that. All of this will be juggled around work, chores, and grandpa time. At the earliest, I could maybe pull it off in 2 weeks, but I want it done well, and at the outside, I'd like to have it live by Labor Day. And then I've got to figure out what it takes for running and publishing on OBS. I value what a supportive group of patrons can do with giving feedback and an eye to detail on PDFs that will eventually go on OBS. I've seen that model on other Patreons I support. I now have a 7-part checklist for all the things I need to do for becoming a publisher on OBS and starting a Patreon, and most of these same steps are items on my to-do list to get ready for the eventual Kickstarter of my card game. So it's a win-win. So When I have things ready to go live with the Patreon, I'll have another video up to announce it. I'll have a blog post, of course, and a podcast on Anchor. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends. And remember, with all of my sites, you don't have a choice, because it's follow me and die.
Until next time, may you win initiative and make all your saves.